All right. Can any can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? Am I okay? So we are officially live. Gonna wait a minute or so for everyone to show up, then we can begin the festivities, which I'm sure is what you all want. So it seems like most people can hear me. Let's see, okay, we got 8 people here, so I think that's actually good enough. Wow, record time. All right, so now we can get started. Can talk about basically whatever it is you want, as long as it's reasonable, of course. Also, just saying for this stream, we'll also be talking about some future videos. If you have any questions about those, like any potential how I would have made it that may or may not be in the works. Wink, wink. Just saying. I'm actually going to switch rooms here so I don't have this echo. Let me see what I can do. And, yep, okay, here we go. In the much quieter room, hopefully. Oh, I'll have to check that tribute out. Thanks. Well, now I know about it, so now I'm definitely going to have to go see it. Yeah, I don't like the echo, though, so I'm the guy doing this, so I'm the one who has to remove it. We actually just last night rejected a video within 12 hours of coming up with the concept and writing the script. So we were going to do a video about the real reason why Isaac Hayes left South Park, because contrary to popular belief, it's not exactly because he was upset with the Scientology thing. That's actually not the full reason. Shortly, but we were going to do a video about it, but then we're like, oh crap, it's kind of an overdone topic now because there's tons of news articles, there's tons of things on the wiki. The only thing that there's not are videos, but even then we'll feel like, oh, that's kind of redundant. Why even bother making that at this point? So we're not going to actually make that video, which is kind of disappointing because we had this idea of instead of one video this week, we were going to have 2 short ones. I'm like, all right, I'm on a South Park kick. I'm watching some stuff, possibly for a video I have in the works. Wink, wink. So I came up with this chef idea. I'm like, okay, so we were going to do League of Super Evil this week, to be determined if we're still going to do that or not, because sometimes, even though we have our videos all recorded out in advance, we shuffle the schedule around sometimes, depending on our moods. So I was like, all right, let's do the short video idea week this week, because I'm going to do the chef video. But then this morning, I did some more research into it while finalizing the script and realized, crap, we can't do this. And for those who are wondering, the real reason Isaac Hayes left is because he didn't leave. He never technically left, someone left for him. Basically, what happened is around the time Trapped in the Closet came out, Isaac Hayes said that while he didn't like the way Scientology was presented on the show, he understood that it was just par for the course because it's South Park. Like, what else could you possibly expect? But then he had a stroke. And when he had a stroke, he lost a lot of the ability to speak for a while. So, one of his assistants or publicists, we don't really know who, no one knows, even the person who revealed all this information being his son, Isaac Hayes III, they don't know who did this. They just know that all of his staffers were members of the Church of Scientology. So, on his behalf, they resigned and also released that infamous press statement saying South Park doesn't care about this or that, or saying that South Park's just a bunch of angry people that hate religion and all that. There's a reason that Trey Parker and Matt Stone were very confused, because it didn't sound like Isaac Hayes at all. Because guess what? It wasn't him. It was someone doing it on his behalf. But by then, it was too late. A lot of people theorize that the reason Isaac Hayes never went back to South Park is because the church told him, no, you already left. And besides, it's not a good idea to go back. And also the reason Darth Chef, which was shown in the last episode Chef was in, called, what was it again? The Return of Chef, which I personally don't like that episode. But anyways, the reason it's believed that Darth Chef never came back was out of respect, because Isaac Hayes died 2 years later. And of course, Trey Parker and Matt Stone didn't find out about the truth until years later. But now that they do, it's just kind of messed up, don't you think? But yes, we are going to do a South Park video soon. I'll tell you what exactly it is. All I'll just say is it's a quest to find all the certain information on a certain subject. That's all I'm going to say. I'll let you guys from the totally subtle and impossible to figure out clue I've dropped in there. See, just a sec. So yeah, that's the story of why Isaac Hayes really left South Park. He was tricked into it / scammed into it. And I really do hope, I know it's impossible, but I do hope that they find who did that, because that is most certainly grounds for a lawsuit. As they say in the episode Trapped in the Closet, I'll sue you in England! The worst South Park episode of all. I'd say Stanley's Cup or A Million Little Fibers. Stanley Cup was just kind of at first, and the ending it's a little too much for South Park. And if you don't agree with me, this is another one of those drawn together season 3 things where the creators actually agreed with me. They've disowned Stanley's Cup because just the whole thing felt off. And then Million Little Fibers, that is universally considered the worst episode of South Park, and I can understand why. It's just dumb. I don't even really like Towley to begin with, and the whole Oprah stuff, like, I guess it could have been funny, but they just did it a little too much. But also, I gotta say, season 19, season 20, the stuff with Donald Trump as like president or something, I didn't care for that, because I don't know, the member berries were fine at first, and they used them too much. Then the internet trolls and the election stuff just kind of went nowhere because Hillary Clinton didn't win in real life. And then it just kind of became Trump jokes for a season. And yeah, I get it. Whether you like Trump or not, the jokes could be funny, but they got old. Everyone did the same, like, 12 jokes over and over. And even the creators admitted that. That's one of the reasons that they stopped using Garrison for a year until Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden. And of course, I'm sure they're going to do a lot of Joe stuff. I don't know. I haven't seen the recent episodes of South Park. I've just been so busy. Yeah, I know there's the OBS logo up on here and nothing else. There's nothing really to look at here. This is mostly just to listen to. I wish I had some like art stuff to do like Billy does. I just can't draw. And I was going to look for games and stuff, but then I realized for a certain thing I'm doing, my computer only has a couple gigs of space left, so I can't download anything. So that means I'd have to use whatever's on my computer for a stream, and I wasn't really feeling Sonic Adventure, and Danganronpa just does not fit the streaming format, so I was kind of stuck. I mean, I guess I could have done Raft, because I've been wanting to go back to that game for a while, but I don't know, maybe later. I was going to do a Nuzlocke that one of our dear friends Azarius made for us, but due to technical difficulties, we're going to have to push that back to the next stream. Oh well, we'll get to it soon. And hello, everybody new that has just joined. Oh yeah, Mr. Garrison's fancy new, yeah. That's also not a good one, but surprisingly, the creators haven't disowned that one. But they did disown South Park as gay because they hated the crab people stuff. I mean, I get it on both sides. The episode's really funny, but also Crab People is dumb, but that's also why it's funny. I don't know. Teach their own, I guess. As long as they brought him back for the video games, that was a nice surprise. Oh, there's only one reaction video I'm going to be doing. I don't know what day in February specifically, sometime in the middle. I'm going to be reacting to my old videos on the TAS Productions channel. The very first stuff I ever made. It's not good. I mean, what do you expect? I was 12 years old. 12-year-olds barely know what quality is when they're making stuff. Just saying. I mean, I know a lot of you guys out here are 12 or are going to be 12, but take it from someone who was 12. You don't know what you're doing. I was there, and you're going to see it in full glory. The just truly terrible, stupid, awful world of stuff like Leo No Arms or Heathcliff the Boy Blunder. It's so bad. It's all so bad. And you're going to have a grand old time as I watch unscripted these old videos for the first time in years. Yes, I am a Christian. I'm non-denominational, I guess. Like, there's no specific denomination I have. All the ones I go to are, like, non-really specific. But yes, I am a Christian and proud of it. We already do have a Discord server, Captain Diabetes. It's in the description of every episode of Mementos we got. So right underneath the Patreon link is the link to our Discord server. So if you ever wanna, feel free to pop on by. We'd be glad to have you. Now the old reviews, they'll be a little hard to watch doing that. I'm not talking about in terms of quality, although yes, they will be hard to watch. It's just that they're a lot harder to react to because they're long, they're dull, and there's nothing really to them aside from just take my word for it, they suck. But I'm talking about like those old quote-unquote comedy videos we did. Stuff that I can see where we were coming from. I can see the ideas we had. Things like, well, I guess you'll see in the meantime when we get around to that. But on paper, they could have been good. It's just that I was too young and inexperienced to really know how to make something work in practice. Because the way that they turned out is really embarrassing. Not too embarrassing to the point where I don't want to show any of you, but take my word for it, it's bad. They're all bad. Okay, maybe one or two are okay, but the rest are bad. Sorry, we don't take requests except for Patreon raffle reviews, and neither Billy and I are really well versed in Power Rangers, so we don't really think we'd be able to do a good video on something like that. Especially because I know there's a lot of other people out there, excluding Linkara, because, yeah, I don't really want to promote Linkara, who know a lot more about Power Rangers than we do. All I know is that I've seen 4 episodes in total across all the series, and I guess it's just one of those things where you had to grow up with it to find an interest in it, because it's not bad. It's just really not for me. Oh no, the food special will definitely not be included because we are still proud of those. We're talking about long before VeggieTales became in the picture. We're talking Leo No Arms, Quarrel Brothers, Heathcliff, even Villain's License or Buster and Me. We're talking old school. Like the bottom of the iceberg stuff. Yes, I have seen American Dad before, and of Seth MacFarlane's 3 disaster piece shows, I'd say it's the best one. In fact, it's the only one I would say is not bad. I mean, it's okay. I'll watch an episode or 2 here and there. It's definitely better written than his other stuff. But it's... I don't know. I prefer stuff like King of the Hill or Simpsons, but if I really had to watch American Dad, yeah, alright, I'd be fine with that. Just as long as there's not a gun to my head, because if there's a gun to my head and I'm watching any show, even if it's my favorite, I'm going to be a little bit distracted. Think you can tell why. I've never heard of Eleanor Wonders Why. I've never heard of it. Yeah, that video is going to be great. And it's going to be coming right alongside another 2-part special event that Billy and I have been planning for a while. One that's really going to test our friendship. It's not. Oh, it's a pain. It's a real pain. But we have those recorded already because we record long in advance. I'm recording a video for March or April today. I can't remember because we're at the tail end of March in terms of recording schedule. We record 2 to 3 a week, so that way we can get like a little bit of a surplus going. And hypothetically, if there's 2 videos that come out that week for Mementos, we record 3. But if there's 1 week coming out that week for Mementos, then we record 2. That way we get super far into the future, and if we have to change around the schedules, or if we feel like it, like we often do, then there's no problem. Then we got things all prepared. Also, I just gotta say that the Lorax video we did turned out really well. People loved it. But we didn't know that when we were making it. We were saying, okay, the Christmas videos usually do pretty well. People usually like to watch them. After all, they voted them into existence. So we were making the Lorax video and we thought, this is a really fun idea. We want to keep doing more How I Would Have Made It. But we don't know if people are going to like the Lorax video like they thought they would. So while we were in the background working on more How I Would Have Made It videos, we're thinking, wouldn't it suck if when the Lorax video comes out in like 2 weeks, this whole thing's going to crash and burn and we're going to have all this work done for nothing? Luckily, it turned out to be one of the most popular videos of that year. So we are more than happy to go ahead with that project. Our next How I Would Have Made It will appear in February. We posted a poll not too long ago. Sorry, just got a message. We sent out a poll not too long ago asking what you all would like to see when it came to How I Would Have Made It videos. And we're not ignoring that poll, absolutely. All of those will come to fruition, but that is to gauge interest in the ones that we should be making soon. One of them, the one that ended up winning, Moral Oral, we wanted to do that one next, but it's going to take a lot more work and a lot more voice actresses specifically, because that episode has a lot of female characters in it. So it's going to take a little while, but rest assured, we are working on it. In the meantime, some smaller How I Would Have Made It are going to come out, but then sometime I'm thinking maybe May is going to be a big one. And I hope you guys are excited. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm not going to drop any hints. All I'm going to say is it's something you guys have proven already that you will be interested in seeing. Let me, Yes, we did do some food specials prior to Veggie Tales, but we're not going to do those either. They're just a little too long, and there's nothing really interesting about them. The reason I'm going back to the specific old videos from, what was it, 2012? Yeah, the reason I'm going back to those ones is because they're just so uniquely awful in just strange ways that I never really expected that they would be looking back. I mean, again, when I was young and didn't know any better, I thought that stuff was going to be hilarious. I thought it was going to be a big hit. We actually thought that one of our series, I'll discuss it more in the video, would be so popular that it would be like, I wouldn't say the next Fred or Annoying Orange, but we thought it was going to be really big. Again, we were super, super young. We didn't know any better. Oh yeah, Stage Fright is great. I first saw that when I was a kid on the bonus features of the Wallace and Gromit DVD. I didn't get it when I was young. In fact, it kind of startled me a little bit. Not scared me, just kind of startled me because I thought, oh, this is dark and weird, but now that I'm an adult, I'm able to appreciate it a lot more. We want to discuss it someday, and that's going to be Billy who does it when we get around to it, because he's definitely the guy who'd be able to express his opinions on that a lot more. Well, thank you, Arlo. We're really happy for the support. The TWF stuff on the other channel is still going. It's just that I've been kind of distracted with work stuff and personal things right now. Well, I am getting back to it soon. Speaking of TWF, there was a Thumb Wrestling Federation video that used to be here on the Media Mementos channel, but we ended up removing it because it wasn't really, how do I put this, good. So we're going to remake it sometime down the line. New script and everything. We're not just going to go old George Lucas on you and just take what already exists and then redo it a little. No. This is going to be a completely new video. Same thesis and same general ideas, but new scripts, definitely different editing, and going a lot more in-depth into the good and the bad aspects of that show. We are also trying to get a hold of the creator, Larry Schwartz, but it's proving to be a little bit difficult, so no promises. We're trying. There's also a Bible Man video coming up, and we have reached out to a couple of the crew members to try to get their takes on it, but again, no such luck. I think it's because we're a channel of this size, like we're not very big, but I don't know. We're going to keep trying. One of the ones that we haven't reached out to yet, we're trying, is Johnny Rogers from Kidmo. We have his email and all that sort of stuff. We're just trying to work up the nerve to actually ask him for an interview. Would that be something you guys would want to see? Anything like that? Hey, Daryl Martu, what's up? I've not seen any Jesse Ventura YTP, but I do have a lot of his governor stuff, and by that I mean just, I think, one? No, two. No, I guess it is just the one. I just have this Jesse Ventura for governor action figure right here. It's right next to my Drowsy Chaperone flask and the tin of discs for the Fox Pilots of 2006. We have not forgotten about that show, or that mini-series on Media Mementos. We're just not doing it anymore because no one was watching it. Especially now that I'm living on my own now, and I'm in a small yet very expensive city. We need money more than ever, so if a video is only going to pull in like 200 views, or however badly the Wedding album or Vanished did, it's just not worth it anymore. So we're not going to be doing the Fox Pilots anymore. We're going to do one last video about them at some point. It's not anywhere on our schedule until 2023, but it is a Patreon raffle video that we have on the list. So if anyone picks that, we'll go back to it, but otherwise, it's just going to stay dormant because no one was watching. The only ones that got any viewership were Happy Hour and The Winner. Wedding Album is like the worst performing video we've done on the channel that's an actual review, and Vanished did well at first for like the first day, and then stopped, and now no one's ever watching it again, so we kind of gave up because we didn't feel it was worth it. Hope you guys understand. Yes, Han did shoot first. That is 100% factually correct. Fraggle Rock reboot, not excited for it. I'm tired of reboots. I want something new. And I'm really nervous they're going to just make it about like, I guess I was going to say make it about like modern culture and all that stuff, but the original Fraggle Rock did it too. Then again, look at what happened to Animaniacs. They, in their reboot, tried to make it a lot more topical, expanding on what they did in the original show, but they just ended up making it dull and soulless. By the way, I just want to say, I predicted that the Animaniacs reboot would suck, but you all didn't believe me. You all went to that video saying, no, it's going to be great. And look where we are now. I was right. That's right. I'm humble. I'm just kidding. But really, I was right. I predicted it 3 years ago, or however long that was, and now I feel vindicated. So I'm kind of thinking of unprivating that video now. It's going to be great. Dan versus Reboot. We were actually discussing that a couple days ago. We don't know. We think the pitch ended up failing because the person that orchestrated the whole thing has since left the internet, as well as the fact that all talk about the Dan versus Reboot has just fizzled out. So we do think that the pitch did not go through. Either something happened with the rights or HBO Max just wasn't interested, but as far as we're aware, it didn't happen. But they're also not going to give up. It's clear they're going to just keep trying for Dan versus until it works. And I'm hoping they do. Because as we've said many, many, many times, Dan versus is a fantastic show and it deserves more shots. Especially now that Discovery Family or Discovery Kids or whatever it's called is clearly not interested in doing anything Dan versus related. They're not even rerunning it anymore, as far as I'm aware. To be fair, I don't really have cable here in my apartment, and I don't keep in touch with their shows because once Dan versus stopped, I stopped watching the channel. There's nothing else there for me to watch. I mean, I'm not a brony, so I'm not going to watch Friendship is Magic. In fact, I'm being honest, I got all my news on like Friendship is Magic and stuff from Ben the Looney and Chris Chan. The only reason I knew that there was a second Equestria Girls movie or that there was like a G5 reboot was because of Chris Chan. Because he was like so freaking out about like a reboot and saying that they needed 5 more seasons or whatever. So anything I know about the show comes from either Ben the Looney's reviews on it, the few episodes I've seen when I was doing my old TV talk show, and Chris. Someday we're thinking of doing a video like called a non-bronies perspective on the show, but then we're also thinking that's going to open up like a lot of doors we don't want open. Not like disrespecting bronies or anything. Absolutely not. You like what you like. As long as you're not hurting anybody, it's totally fine. But we learned this the hard way when we were doing Ren and Stimpy. We love Ren and Stimpy. It's a great show, but it is so hard to make videos about. The game's animation video was a struggle because Ren and Stimpy is not the deepest show. It's basically just Looney Tunes, but more outrageous and made in the 90s. You can't analyze it. You can't make deep essays about it. The most you can get out of it is playing devil's advocate for why the episodes were banned, or talking about the adult version, or more recently, what we did, talking about games animation and deciding whether or not it's really bad. We have only one other Ren and Stimpy video planned. And then after that, we can't do anymore. It's not that we don't want to, although we don't really want to keep making more of them. But we literally can't. There's nothing else to do, except for reviewing specific episodes. But even then, there's nothing to do. Because there's no like themes or anything. It's not like Jimmy Neutron or SpongeBob where every episode's super different or might have subtext or anything like that. It's just Ren and Stimpy. What else can you say? Again, we love the show. And if there was a way to do more, we'd certainly look at it. But the single video we have planned for, I don't know when it's coming out, sometime in like spring or summer, because it was a video we had planned, then we canceled it, then a few days ago we uncanceled it, but given the scope of it all, we're not sure when it's going to actually come out. But that's the reason why we're not doing a lot of Ren and Stimpy stuff. There's nothing left to do. But that's all kind of a roundabout way of saying that we don't want the same thing to happen with a show that we have no connection to. We may like Ren and Stimpy and all that, but we are really indifferent when it comes to Friendship is Magic. I mean, I acknowledge it's a decently well-written show. It's just not for me. It's like Steven Universe. It's objectively good, it's just not for me. And I think that given the fact that even though the show's over, there's still a sizable fan base, we're kind of worried that they're going to flock over to the show and expect to see more. That's one of the unintentional things that happened when we started doing Moral Oral. Although we did have the plan to keep doing more Moral Oral videos, we realized upon posting the very first one we did that people came to expect a lot more from us and they were coming a lot for moral oral stuff, which is great because we had no plans on stopping. I mean, Moral Oral is going to have 2 more videos this month, a two-parter to be specific, coming out either the last week of January or the second to last week. We're not really sure yet. It just kind of depends on what time our secondary editor is able to get the first part done. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded monologue there. Now time to get back to the comments. Woo! Oh, I hope the Dan versus thing works too. And I'm glad I got you into the show. It needs more fans. It got shafted a lot when it was being aired. Whether they didn't promote it enough, or I guess the Pony Show did just kind of trounce it, overshadowing it with no possibility of expanding further. But now that it has a big cult following, I'd say it's worth looking at again. Right? Yeah, I get that when it comes to forming your own opinion. I'm all for that. I'm just saying, though, the Animaniacs reboot is just like so mediocre it hurts, which is really bad coming from Animaniacs because that is not what the show used to be. It's just like the Powerpuff Girls reboot, but less soulless, although it is still soulless. Thank you, Cars. We need more people making original stuff. Billy and I are trying to make original stuff, and with you doing it too, there's hopefully going to be a new wave of new interesting things. Because now it's like, I guess they're going to reboot Adventure Time or something again. And there's the new Fraggle Rock. There's always the new everything. And then when the reboots actually turn out to be decent, the actors and creators end up going on Twitter and saying racist things. Rosie O'Donnell. Or actually, no, it's Roseanne Barr. My mistake. Wow, my joke failed because I couldn't get the right actress. To be fair, I mix them up all the time. Yeah, the Roseanne reboot was like one of the few reboots I actually liked. And then she went and did that. So that sucks. Oh, do I know Chris Chan? I know a lot about the ding-dang trolls who are bothering Chris, and well, they're jealous of Sonic franchise and the fact he what a sweetheart. Billy and I joke a lot about Chris Chan. I do a decent Chris impression, and he does a decent Liquid Chris impression. So you better believe that that leads to a lot of goofing around when we're hanging out. So what do you mean by making more analysis videos on things like moral oral? Like we do a lot of that on the channel. Do you mean like as a regular thing, like we keep coming back to it time and time again? Because if so, yes. We're starting to do a lot more drawn together ones, although a lot more spaced out because Viacom hates when we give them positive feedback on drawn together. I don't get it. The super negative, super angry season 3 drawn together video had no copyright issues whatsoever. But then the positive one about Requiem for a Reality Show a couple months ago, that gets blocked worldwide for 5 days. I don't get it. But yes, Drawn Together is one of them. We were trying to do Jimmy Neutron for a while, but we kind of realized we kind of overdid it with our first video being reviewing every episode, so there's literally nothing to go to except Planet Sheen, and no one wants to talk about Planet Sheen. So I guess we can't really do Jimmy Neutron anymore. But we're also doing Muppets. And of course, Moral Oral. That's going to keep going for a long time. Other than that, I guess I'll get back to you on that because we're still looking at other possibilities. Of course, we don't take requests, but like when we find that one thing that has a lot of untapped potential, trust me, you're going to hear about it over and over again. Whoops. Yeah, I don't know about the Ren and Stimpy reboot. The last time they did it, it did not turn out well. And I think this time it's going to go all the way in the other direction, like in the game's animation direction, where they try so hard to make it Ren and Stimpy that it just turns out to not be Ren and Stimpy. I don't know. I'm reboot skeptical. Always, always, always. I'm just glad there's no Drawn Together reboot, because if they bring Dave Jesser and Matt Silverstein back to the helm, they're gonna mess it up again. Like the last time they had complete and total creative control, they made things like Spelling Applebee's or the American Idol parody show. They did not turn out well. You can blame Seth MacFarlane for some of that, by the way, as it turns out. The creators of Drawn Together actually hit it off with Seth MacFarlane really well. And around that time, their writing started to shift to become more like, I wouldn't even say Family Guy. Family Guy fan fiction, kind of. Just like trying too hard to be Family Guy. That's why it became a lot more sexual and darker. A lot of people think that it was Seth MacFarlane's influence. And that's further corroborated by the fact that he showed up in the Drawn Together movie as well. He played the giant robot, Israel. So, yeah, a lot of Drawn Together fans, it's kind of divisive. Like, people will either say it's just as good as the original, which it's not. The creators have said that. It's the creators' fault for getting high and playing Xbox instead of coming up with other ideas. Or Seth MacFarlane was influencing them. Not like directly, not like, oh, you guys should do this, you should do that. But like spending so much time with him kind of had the Seth rub off on them. Or some people, like me, say it's a combination of the latter two. I don't know. Like what was mentioned earlier, come to your own conclusion. Don't just listen to the reviewer. But do take some certain facts into account. Because sometimes objective facts are there for a reason. They're objective. They're 100% true. I've never played No More Heroes, but I've heard good things about it. Yes, the Dan versus reboot was going to be more adult. Again, it didn't end up happening, but it was going to be more adult. And I think if handled correctly, that would have been good, because Dan versus started off as an adult show at first. Then they made it a kids show, and then when it finally got picked up by the Hub, they kind of made it a mix between the two, like I guess an older teen show, sort of. However you define it, because it's most certainly not for kids. With all the stuff they have, like I will devour your children, I don't really think that's meant for the SpongeBob crowd, just saying. I haven't heard of Center World. I'll have to look at that. Oh, thanks. I'm kind of proud of the Chris Chan impression. Let's see. Trying to think of a good Chris thing to say. I was gonna do the I want everything about my house off the internet, but I got neighbors, so I don't really think they'd really take kindly to hearing that screaming. Please understand, I'm just an innocent person. I want to have a sweet, pretty girl that I will dub the name Crystal, less than Chandler. Crystal, a name that sounds similar to mine, and is named after the illustrious metal. Gosh, dang it, Michael Snyder. Oh, trust me, I want to do voice stuff someday. It's just so hard to get in the business, and I'd have to live in California, which is my second least favorite state. So I don't know if I could do that, but I would like to do it someday. One of the things I had on my old channel that is long since privated is a video of like over 100 voices I could do. And now that I'm a full mature man, I want to make a video with the updated list. Because one of them we're going to be doing someday is basically a video about how Total Drama World Tour was the beginning of the end of the franchise. Like, it was the root of all the problems that came in the 3 seasons afterwards and the baby show. We're going to do like some scene transitions. They're not skits or anything, but they're just scene transitions where Okay, so every problem of the show is broken up into sections, right? So every time a new one would come up, it'd be like Tyler going, "Number one, the characterization just kind of fell apart, man." Or something like that, just one of the characters from the original cast. Because I've kind of been known that I can do some decent impressions of the Total Drama cast. I was cast in a fan project that never got off the ground, and that Total Drama reunion thing actually sought me out to do some of the stuff. I didn't end up accepting the role, but that was a thing that happened. They sought me out to be Owen, but I can't really do a good enough Owen. And they were going to introduce some of the other characters later, so I think the thing was they were going to come back to me later. I think. They never outright said that, but I got the feeling. But because I can't really do an Owen, I didn't end up accepting the role. I'm like, nah, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be good enough. I've barely even tried. I can do a Tyler or Ezekiel or Noah, but that's not who they were looking for. They were looking for some more of the mainstay characters. Yeah, the DuckTales reboot was actually pretty good. I haven't seen a lot of it, but Kyle, one of my best buds, he's watched a lot of it, and he said it turned out really well. Of course, I haven't seen a lot of the original either, but I'm going to be fixing that because my VHS recording collection now has increasingly more Toon Disney than last time. By the way, you remember that video I made with my VHS collection where I had 400? Well, now I have 807. So I've more than doubled my collection. It's great. It's right here behind me. There's the Indiana shelf, there's the New York shelf. I don't have these designated by state. I have these basically in order that I got them. It just so happens that I ordered like a giant box of stuff from New York and Indiana. That's why I have 75 from Indiana and 102 from New York. I have a problem. Yes, the Chris Chan impersonation was used in the VTA video. That is 100% correct. And I did that intentionally to mock the rabbits. I think the point got across really well. No problem. Happy to answer your question. Yeah, I hope you look forward to some more of those stuff we'll be returning to in the future, like we do with Moral Oral. Because as hard as it is to believe, we will run out of Moral Oral stuff eventually. I fear for when that day comes. But there will come a day where we literally can't discuss anything new about the show ever again. And when that day comes, you will see a video ranking every episode or reviewing all of them at once like we did Jimmy Neutron. It's going to be one of those, either a ranked or just an outright review of every episode. And then when that video comes out, you will know that that is the end of Moral Oral content on Media Mementos. And it will be a sad, sad day. What consoles do I have? Nothing very recent. I used to have a Virtual Boy, but I sold that shortly around the time, I think, that I moved away from Texas, I think. I got a 360 that's on right now because I'm duplicating a tape for a friend. Just managed to get the Star Wars Holiday Special, original airing, with ads. Let's see, what else do I have? I have a Wii. I bought a PlayStation 2 from Goodwill that I Frankenstein together through a lot of cables that were scattered throughout the store. My buddy Justice, who may or may not be watching this, also has a channel. I'll plug him as soon as I remember what his channel name is. I'm sorry, Justice. I'm sorry. He gave me his old PS3 that he no longer has. So now, for the first time, I'm a Sony owner. And I have a 3DS, a DSi that I haven't used in forever. I'm kind of tempted to sell it, but it also has Pokemon Diamond on there, and that was like one of the save files I had from when I was young. Like, I can't part with this because then I'm never going to go back to it again. I don't know. I'm a nostalgic guy sometimes. I think you all know how it is. I also have a VCR. That's also a video game console. I'm kidding. But I do have two of those. Oh, what am I saying? Of course, I also have a Nintendo 64. I just haven't unboxed it since I moved. I think the cable that links to the TV is broken because every time I try to play my games, it just doesn't work. And it's a shame too, because I got a lot of gems like Smash Brothers or Conker's Bad Fur Day, and now I can't use them. At least until I get that cable, but you know, just gotta buy it eventually, one of these days, or I could fix it myself and then it goes horribly wrong. So one of those things can happen. I still do hate VeggieTales in the house, yes, still do, and probably always will. Oh yeah, Adventures in Odyssey. We don't know a lot about it, but we do know it's a very good show. And of course, it's a pioneer when it comes to like Christian anything, really, like Christian media. So it'll always be respected. And it's really sad that the actor did pass away. Oh yeah, the Switch. I want a Switch. I wanted a Wii U, but then when I was about to get one, the Switch came out, and then like, oh, I'll just wait until the Switch gets cheaper. And then it got cheaper, and then I got busy because I was in college and then had a job. So I never ended up getting a Switch. But all my friends seem to have them. So whenever I go over to their place, I can just do that. But I think if I did get a Switch, like the only games I'd really like actively seek out are ARMS, Mario Maker, which not a lot of people seem to be using as much anymore, and of course Smash Brothers Ultimate. You can't get a Switch without Smash Brothers Ultimate. And I guess Mario Kart too. You have to get that. I don't know. Do Switches still come bundled with 1-2-Switch? I don't know if they do. But I know nothing about that game anyways, so I guess I'm not like super well part of it. Sorry, I'm not going to sing the Chris Chan theme song, but I do love it. There's actually 2 theme songs. There's the Chris Chan show, the My Name is Christian C, the one that's like a parody of the Cleveland show. Hate that show. But also there's the Chris Chan sitcom one called That Autistic. I don't say the word that goes after that. But it's the Chris Chan sitcom that was made in like 2010. And it keeps getting deleted and reposted elsewhere. And of course, after the Chris Chan Did What thing blew up, you better believe that that video was almost scrubbed from the internet. And then some Good Samaritan posted it again. So that's good. Well, funny thing about making a Chris Chan video, Arlo, I kind of did, but it's never been posted. So way back in freshman year of college, I started getting into Chris Chan. Please don't take that out of context. Please, I beg of you. Well, now that I said that, it's going to happen. But my good friend Kyle didn't know who Chris Chan was. So we recorded a video together as I was explaining Chris Chan to him and like his horrified reactions. But we've never posted it because the Chris Chan crowd is not the crowd we really want to attract. Not saying people that like Chris Chan, because then that'd make me a hypocrite. And also, I know a lot of you guys out there are fascinated with that stuff. And of course, no judgment. Like I said, I'm one of you. I live here in Thneedville too. Dang it, now I feel dirty. But there's a lot of less than desirable people that are really fascinated with Chris Chan. So as much as we'd like to post it, I still have the video. It's still rendered and everything on my old laptop. I don't think it's ever going to see the light of day just to keep everything safe. It's kind of one of the reasons why we never did the Phantom of the Opera video we wanted to do. Because again, it just attracts too much negative attention. Favorite and least favorite state. Least favorite state is New York. Mostly just because of New York City. I mean, New York City's great, and don't get me wrong. I don't hate New York. It's just a lot of bad politicians come out of New York. Same with like Illinois. Illinois is also like really corrupt. And the reason I care so much about that is because my line of work is politics. Like I work in that field. So just New York, man. One of the things I don't like is like when there's a state where one city controls the whole thing. When like the rest of the state disagrees. Like upstate New York and New York City have entirely different values. Unless you count like Buffalo. Buffalo is just kind of different. But upstate New York is always at the mercy of New York City. Here's why. New York City has like double the population of upstate New York. You can't take a city like Buffalo or Albany and stack it up to the Bronx or Manhattan. Just no contest. So then when like taxes are raised and all these basically citywide policies are adopted statewide. Upstate New York, which is a lot more rural agriculture focused, they end up getting hurt because of it. It's just not right. There's a lot of states that are like this, like Chicago, especially in Illinois. Like Chicago rules over Illinois. Whatever Chicago wants, it gets, including redistricting. The Illinois congressional map that just came out is one of the most disgustingly gerrymandered things I've ever seen. Kind of like the Maryland or Texas or New Mexico maps that just came out. They're not good. Redistricting this cycle has been a nightmare. Favorite state? I got two. Funny enough, they're right next to each other: Arizona and New Mexico. I live in Arizona. I don't live in Phoenix. I live in a different city. But obviously, it's my home state now. It's where my parents live now. It's where my extended family lives and my girlfriend lives. And of course, one of my two best friends, Billy, lives here too. So obviously, like a lot of people I really care about are here. And it's just a great place with amazing people, vibrant skylines, different like geographical demographics. Like we got cities, we got forests, we got rural areas, we got, of course, the desert. And New Mexico is just kind of weird because everything about New Mexico I love. I love the same things that it has about Arizona, except the people. I don't know very many people in New Mexico. But like the culture, the demographics, people, there's everything about New Mexico. Funny enough, whenever Billy and I are creating a new story or new series we want to develop or anything like that, and we're deciding where it should take place, New Mexico is always the first place I suggest. And it's become like a running thing now that he just expects it's going to be New Mexico. Honorable mention for other states I really love are Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Wyoming, Michigan. That's another great one. Really, in some way, I love all the states. There's just some of them like California, Illinois, or New York that have more issues than others, I think. Also, Billy and I have a rule where in anything we make, no story will ever take place in California, Illinois, or New York. Now, that's not for any political reasons, not at all. It's because almost every work of fiction seems to take place there. Think about it. With all the popular shows and movies, they're always either in New York, California, or Chicago, Illinois. We want something different. We don't want to just do the same thing over and over again. We want to give other states some more representation when they don't get a lot of stuff. Like, say, Minnesota or New Mexico. Love you, New Mexico. Because, yeah, even though Minnesota's the home state of the Peanuts gang, no one really pays it any attention. And even then, for every like one thing that a smaller state like, say, Rhode Island has, then there's just a flood of Californias and New Yorks. But that's my tangent there. Let's see. Oh, I'm way behind. I'm sorry. See, you guys are giving me good stuff to talk about today, and I'm talking a lot about it, but it's making me get really behind. Hold on, I'm gonna get a drink of water so I can get back to your questions. All right. There we go. I am back, and now I can continue to answer your questions. Yeah, there's a huge delay between the chat and video. YouTube always has there be like a 5 to 10 second delay. It's really annoying, but sadly, there's not too much you can do. Let's see, what else do we have? When are we going to make the video on Aaron's Way? As soon as we find more episodes. We only have one. That one from that Minnesota lot, there was two of them. There was one from like Princeton and one from Duluth. I think it was Duluth. We only have that one and we can't find the others. We would do the video on one episode, but that's not enough to judge a show by. So as soon as we find 3 episodes, we'll make it. It's just hard. It's so hard. It's basically lost media because all you can really find are some promos. And I think maybe the first episode. You can maybe find that one if you dig hard enough, but we have a different one. We are not going to do Has Been Hotel. We are going to do a Mr. Men show video someday. It's recently been added to the Patreon raffle list. For those who don't know, for every month. Usually it's the last video of every month, but sometimes it'll be changed to the second to last week of that month. There's a Patreon raffle review. So basically, from the Patreon patrons we have, minimum donation is $2 to be considered. We put everybody's name basically in a randomizer, and whoever it spits out gets to pick the topic for the Patreon raffle video that month. We have a list of like 80 plus topics to choose from, but you can also choose your own with some vetoes. Basically, if you suggest something we don't feel would basically be an adequate video because we don't want to cheat you out of your time and money, then we can veto it. We've only had to veto one thing, at least so far. So yeah, that's how that works. So Media Mementos now has the Mr. Men show as one of those options. Game library. I got 360, Wii, N64. So, I mean, I guess I could show you that in a separate video. I can't right now because I'm doing some repair stuff in my room here. Basically, some maintenance, I guess, is a better term for it. Stinking shelf here doesn't want to close. So that means, let's see, 8, 9, 10. Shelf number 11A for my VHS collection will not close. I don't know why. It just always gives me a hard time. So now I have some of these just sticking out here. It doesn't look good. I'm going to be fixing it one of these days. Also, now that they're only showing their spines, I can't tell what's on them. I know that one's my cousin Vinny from Minnesota. I don't know what the rest of these are. So, oh well. That's what my list is for, because I got a list here with like shelf 11, like, oh, 1 is this, or shelf number 22, this is that. Let me just pull up a random example to show you what I mean. What's a good one? This is a good one. The SpongeBob Best Day Ever Marathon, shelf number 1209 from South Carolina. Yeah, I got a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I got a problem, but I like my problem, so I'm okay with it. And Moral Laurel Season 1's pretty good. Not as good as the other seasons. I think Season 1's actually kind of weak in comparison. My girlfriend and I were actually going through Moral Oral. Yeah. Need to slow down. We were going through Moral Oral Season 1. She's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm just like, just kind of getting into it. Like, trust me, we're just watching Season 1 because we have to. Because she saw some of the videos we made on Media Mementos, especially the Shapian Block one, and that made her want to give it a shot. We were about halfway through Season 1, but then some stuff kind of went down with her family, so that kind of stopped that. But we'll get back onto it soon. Let's see. Whoops. Oh man, I'm so far behind. I don't know Seth MacFarlane as a person, but from some of the stuff I hear, no. Like a lot of the accounts of the people that work on like King of the Hill or The Simpsons, or my 9th grade English teacher had a nephew that interned for him, and she said that he wasn't very nice. I don't know. I just don't respect him as a creator, but I'm sure if I met him in real life, I think he'd be a swell dude. I don't know. It just kind of depends. I know he's a little smug sometimes, but that's also because he's kind of the creator of one of the biggest comedy shows out there right now. So it kind of makes sense that he would be. But obviously, Trey Parker and Matt Stone of South Park, they tell it like it is. So if they don't like you, they'll tell you. And they do not like Seth MacFarlane. Yeah, you do. You do not want to know who Chris Chan is. Saturday morning blocks, they were good for the time, but they just don't fit in this modern world anymore. I do miss Foxbox. I love Foxbox. We even made a whole video about it. I got a few Foxbox VHS tapes in my collection too, complete with ads, because absolutely I do. I think I showed one of them off in that video too. Yeah, shelf number 103, I believe. I am 23 right now. I'll be 24 in August. Yeah, Florida. Florida's something interesting. Good old Florida, man. I got a great aunt that lives in Florida, but she's going to be moving back to the Grand Rapids area because, like, all my dad's side of the family is from Michigan. All over the state, too. Like, as far north as Marquette in the UP, Upper Peninsula for you non-Michigan people out there, or people that haven't been to Michigan a lot like I have, and then all the way down to, like, say, Detroit or Lansing or Grand Rapids. That's one of the reasons why I love Michigan so much. Not only is it like a beautiful state with a lot to offer, just a lot of really cool stuff, but also like literally half of my family is there. It's always nice to see them because every 3 or 4 years or so, not now anymore because I don't live at home anymore, but my dad and I would always basically do a Michigan-wide state tour where we'd basically go from the bottom of Michigan to the top, or sometimes the top to the bottom, just kind of seeing all the family members, and of course stopping at the great Mackinac Island. If you guys don't know what that is, feel free to look it up because it's an amazing place. Just know it's spelled Mackinac, not Mackinac. See you later, Alec, man. I know you're long gone by this point. Yep, Family Guy's set in Rhode Island. Well, we have done some videos on video game characters like Titan Weevil. We did that. We have, I think, a couple more in the future. Just video games aren't really our expertise because the market's kind of saturated. Like a lot of people do video game content, so there's not so much left for us to discuss. We have a couple, just not many. And also, whenever we do video game videos here, unless it's whacked, they never do well. Like the Conquer bosses didn't do well, Titan Weevil really didn't do well. So it kind of discouraged us from making a lot of game videos. So I hope you guys understand. Ralph Bakshi. I think his movies are hit and miss, but Billy's a big fan. So, I mean, again, it's the thing where it's like, I acknowledge they're good. They're just not really for me. Like Fritz the Cat is definitely not for me. But some of them, like Coonskin or Wizards, I think they're great. However, I think we can all agree that Cool World is not great. That is definitely the stain on his career, and it's sad that that was the end of it, too. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Mr. Renner. I keep forgetting about him. Like, I acknowledge he's gotten better over the years. It's just that he's not... I don't know. He's just kind of not super interesting, I guess. He still does that thing where he harps on like one specific aspect of the thing, even if it's kind of inconsequential, which I understand he's on the autism spectrum, which I'm not autistic, but I got a couple family members that are. Like, I know what that does. It kind of makes you focus on that one thing, even if it doesn't really matter sometimes. And I get that that's how they are. Like, it's not really anything they can change, nor is it anything to be ashamed of. It's just, to me, that doesn't really make for as good a content. But of course, I know he has a lot of fans out there, and I'm totally for you guys supporting him, especially because he's been through a lot. He's gotten harassed and abused a lot. Yeah, he made a lot of mistakes when he was starting out, but let's be real, who hasn't? And especially since he's grown and changed already, and he's shown that he's not like Chris Chan. He's smart. He can change himself. He can really look at himself, assess the situation, and learn to make things better. in order to make sure that he as a person and his content turn out to be something worthwhile, you know? But for the longest time, no one would give him the credit for that. And I was a casual viewer, I guess, at the time, like every so often I'd come back and check in. And I could see he was really making the effort, but people were still giving him just constant abuse. It was when he finally blew up and released that one video where he was talking about all the trouble he's been receiving, especially at the hands of Turkey Tom. I think that's kind of when things changed and everyone decided to back off. You know, when Ben the Looney stopped being the punching bag, everyone needed somebody new, and I guess Mr. Enter was the guy. The internet reviewing community, up until recently, just like always seems to need that one user they need to punch down on. And of course, the only one I think that it was ever justified for is Cosmodor. That guy absolutely got what he deserved, and I hope he never comes back. That's that. Wait, you think that's bad? Remember the time when I auditioned to be David Hasselhoff's car? Hey there, Knight Rider. I love that episode because, like, that's my opinion to the T. Both like Cartman's view on Family Guy and like Kyle's view of like fairness and all that sort of stuff. Like either it's all okay or none of it's okay kind of thing when it comes to like making fun of groups of people. I have not watched Kid Comic. I honestly don't know what that is. What states have I been to? Let's see. Well, the ones I've lived in are Washington, Texas, North Carolina, and Arizona. The ones I've been to are Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Colorado, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Michigan, Illinois, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. And I'm going to be crossing a couple others off that list soon because I got some free flyer miles I need to use up. So I'm hoping to take a vacation to like the New England area at some point. Or either that or going to see some friends in Minnesota. Haven't really decided what yet because first I need time off work to do that. And also a lot of the flight restrictions because of the pandemic. I can't really fly around freely around the country when there's all these restrictions going on. Like, I get it's necessary for health. I totally understand. It's just that it doesn't really make for comfortable conditions. What was the I ship it comment response to? I don't really understand. Oh, battery's running low. I better go get the charger. I'll be back in about 10 seconds. There's some kids outside and they're just like screaming like chimpanzees. Yeah, he was never like Chris Chan. Very few people are like Chris Chan. The only people that are like Chris Chan are directly connected to him, like Jacob Sockness or Isabella Loretta Jank, who needs to be in prison right now. Versus the Network. We got Versus the Network coming back actually in March, so you'll just have to see there. I normally would tell you, because in the streams I like to be a little more loose-lipped than in the comments, but since they're only 2 months away, actually, I guess a month and a half, I'm going to have to keep that one a little bit under wraps. I guess Val Skibum would be... I guess he'd be a punching bag. I don't know if I really go that far, though, because it wasn't like a widespread thing. It was more just like in the community itself, people didn't like him. I haven't seen any of his videos recently. I don't think he's gotten better. I don't believe he can get better, honestly, because of the daily content thing. I don't know. I have watched Ben the Looney's Ren and Stimpy video because back in the day I was a huge Ben the Looney fan. I remember nothing of it. I can't honestly say I remember anything now or then. I haven't watched Ben's videos in a while. One of the videos we were gonna do is like a retrospective on his channel, but then we uncovered some stuff. Apparently, old Ben has been up to some things. I'm not talking about the porn or drugs or anything. I'm talking about the underage stuff. So I'm thinking, yeah, let's not do that. We don't want to be the internet drama channel. That's why we didn't do the One Kids entertainment video that we really wanted to make. Or Nostalgia Critic. Although, we're going to keep making Nostalgia Critic jokes because, I mean, if any of you know what happened with the Justin Carmichael situation, he more than deserves it. Oh, no, no. I've got a lot more states to visit. I've only visited like half. Oh, I've never lived in Illinois. I visited Chicago for a very brief bit when I was young. The ones I've lived in are Texas, Washington, Texas, and North Carolina. Oh yeah, we've looked at some of those niche games, but it's just kind of risky. Like Pikmin's a niche game, and that bombed, and Wax a niche game, and it's success. We're doing one more shot. We want to make a Fusion Frenzy video, providing there's enough interest in that. And if that one doesn't do well, I don't really know what the future is going to be for video game videos here on Media Mementos. Like, I don't really mean to be grim or like try to guilt you guys into watching it or anything. I'm just being honest that we don't really know what's going to happen after that. Obviously, we'd like to do more. We absolutely would. But now that Media Mementos is starting to grow, we can't really make videos that we know are going to fail, you know? Worst part about Gorga? The acting. It physically hurts. It is just the worst. I never want to watch that movie again. Never, 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 never. And those screaming kids outside seem to agree with me. Yes, Ben defended that person because I know they've been friends for a while. Ben's actually mentioned them in some of his really old videos, like when he used his MS Paint caricature. They go pretty far back, as far as I can tell. However, in defending them, that didn't turn out to be such a good decision, now did it? Like, I get trying to defend a friend and all, but when you do that, yeah, no. It's not a good look. Not a good look at all. It's not even a good thing to do, considering all the stuff that happened. Yeah, I agree. Nostalgia Critic really didn't understand Rockadoodle. He also lies about it too, like the ending being in sepia tone. That's not a thing. That isn't in the movie at all. You know, I've honestly tried to go back to Nostalgia Critic a couple times, and like, first of all, the Justin Carmichael stuff still brings it up, and I get it. Separate the art from the artist. Yeah, try to do that. But the art isn't good either. It's really bad. I mean, I really hate to be that guy, but he just stinks at his job. He really does. He doesn't know how to review things properly. He's not funny. I mean, sorry, but not sorry. He just stinks. And I guess, like, I'm kind of thankful in the sense that he inspired me to start making content on my own. But so did Ben the Looney. And I guess both of them have some baggage now, if I'm being honest. You get what I'm trying to say, though, right? Like, nostalgia critics just come on, man. as President Biden would say. Come on, man. He really does say it like that. But with Nostalgia Critic, just no. I can't. Okay, actually, technically, yes, there is one single video of his I like, and it's the Siskel and Ebert video. I think that one's legitimately good, but then all the others, not really. It's just a lot of like screeching. Every so often, he'll have a joke that works. So often. But it's rare, and increasingly rarer the more he delves into his demo reel Nostalgia Critic crossover stuff he's years. Yes, it does stink. He does stink. And he's a critic too, so it does fit. Oh, Jay Sherman. Oh yeah, the Angry Birds one. I was long gone by then. The last video I watched as a subscriber of the Channel Awesome channel was, gosh, was it Batman Forever? Yeah, when I watched that, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm so fed up with this. I can't do this. And then, of course, like the Not So Awesome document dropped around that time. I'm like, well, I made a good decision. And I've never been back. Like, I've watched his stuff every so often. Like, I watched a couple days ago some of his Invader Zim videos. I'm like, wow, this is so empty. Like, again, he's talking about some like the shots and the lighting. Like, all right, that's pretty good. That's pretty interesting. But he keeps repeating the same points over and over again. And then he just kind of, some of the stuff was kind of interesting, like seeing his reaction to the part where Keith gets his eyes ripped out in the Best Friends episode of Invader Zim. But it really wasn't worth it. The guy's trying so hard to stay relevant. Like, he's reviewing all these contemporary things in order to like appeal to a younger demographic, thereby going against his name, Nostalgia Critic, just saying. But then there's also the fact that, like, what stands out now when he's talking about Deadpool 2 or Invader Zim or anything? Like, everyone talks about these, and all he's really doing is adding this lackluster commentary and very, very poorly thought out jokes. So that's my Nostalgia Critic rant there. I guess that's going to make up for the fact that we're not going to be doing that video on him. So there you go. Hope it's everything you wanted and more. Oops. Yeah, like I get that. Everyone kind of has their own bias towards some of the stuff that they have fond memories for. And yeah, I was right there with you, man. I loved Nostalgia Critic when I was young. Like I said, he was one of my inspirations. But just the awful stuff he's done, like hiding a sexual predator for profit, or just the lame writing he'd have, just all of it. No, I can't get behind it. I can't, especially. This is going to sound really mean, but like I think the worst part about Doug Walker is his ego. Because I think, kind of like Seth MacFarlane, if I met him in real life, I think we'd be buds. I think we'd get along really, really well. The only problem is that like he's got this ego about him. A lot of people were saying during the anniversary specials when they were making them, Doug was saying this was going to be like the greatest thing in the history of ever. That they were going to basically change the world with how amazing their stuff is. Well, first of all, no, that's obviously not going to happen because those movies were fairly lousy. I think we all kind of know that. But also, really think about what you're doing here, buddy. You're getting a whole bunch of internet reviewers and you're putting them in a room and you're referencing Star Trek and other such things. Is that really it? That's going to change the world? I get it started off as just kind of like a fun thing, but then he really went off the rails. Silly Doug. Silly, silly Doug. I don't really know about Rob. I haven't seen a lot of videos of Rob so much. So I don't know if he'd be a nice guy. He might be a nice guy, not a nice guy. There is a difference. But like I said, Doug really does seem like a genuinely kind person. I just can't get past all the stuff he's done. And again, separate the art from the artist. You can try to do that, but the art stinks. So, yeah, have fun with that, I guess. Thoughts on Cow and Chicken? It's fine. It's not as good as Ren and Stimpy. It's okay. If the red guy wasn't in it, it wouldn't be worth watching, though. Yeah, Animat. That's another guy I can't really stand. Just like, I mean, yeah, I disagree with him on a lot of what he says. I agree with like a couple things he says sometimes, like treating everybody fairly, regardless of like who they're attracted to or like anything like that. I'm all for stuff like that. But then just like how he shoehorns it into everything. Like one of the reasons we made Jesse Ventura was honestly as a middle finger to Animat, saying like, look, we're making an objectively political video, but this is how it's done. Like here's a YouTuber I actually like, Quentin Reviews. I don't like it when he shoehorns his opinions in there, not because like I disagree with them or anything. If even if people that like spouted my exact opinions made videos like that and just shoehorn them in, I wouldn't like it because what does this have to do with Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs? Like you're talking about Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs and now you're riffing on Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Mitch McConnell or something. Like, well, what does this have to do with anything? When people go to watch your like media-based content, a lot of the time what they want to do is they want to escape. They want to unwind from the hustle and bustle of the day-to-day life and all the exhaustive talk about politics, especially when you don't like the present administration. That especially will come in handy so you can just detach yourself and forget about whoever's in charge you don't like, whether it be Joe Biden or Donald Trump or, I don't know, let's say Miller Fillmore even. But then you turn around and then you see all this like stuff, just not even stuff you may or may not agree with, just like angry, bitter, and out of place stuff where you don't want to see it. Like, what's the point? And again, even in the Jesse Ventura video, I've never once in that video said where I align politically. I bet some of you don't even know where I lie politically. I know for a fact some of you do, but I know that a lot of you also don't. And I want to keep it that way. Like, I mean, if you figure it out on your own, fine, but you're never going to hear it directly from me, like in a random review. Like, you're not going to be watching, say, a video about why I think the episode SpongeBob's House Party is a bit overhated. And then all of a sudden I go, you know, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell just stink, don't they? And then I go on for like 10 minutes about how much I don't like them or something. You don't want to see that. It has nothing to do with SpongeBob. Why put it in? And Animat's only been getting worse about that. There's like, oh gosh, like all those podcasts too, like where he's just like, oh yeah, Joe Biden this and Trump that. Like, I don't want to hear about this. I want to hear about like your thoughts on certain videos. And it's a shame too, because he's got some really interesting stuff, like the Journey to Oz or whatever it was, the really crappy Wizard of Oz animated film. I thought that video was really interesting, regardless of my feelings for anime. Also, like his food fight origin story, so to speak. Like, I thought that was really interesting too. But I can't bring myself to keep watching his content because every time I have to basically watch the video as if it's a minefield. And earlier in the video, I said I work in politics, so obviously I'd be used to it, right? Wrong. Just because I dedicate my life to it doesn't mean I want to hear it every second of the day. Sometimes, working for an elected official or working on a campaign or wherever it is I'm working this week, it can get stressful. It can get tiring. So imagine like you work at McDonald's, right? And like you may like it, but you have this one day where it's like a really stressful day. You got a bunch of Karens in line and they're screaming at you and they're making you mad. So then you just go home one day to watch some review of one of your favorite reviewers, and then they're just talking about McDonald's the whole time and like how customers are always right or something. Like it's a far out analogy, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's not helpful, it's not intuitive. And there's another rant. Man, I've been on the soapbox a lot today. I think he did drop the Sony animation drama a while ago. And also, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a great movie. Just gonna say that. I don't care who it upsets. It's a great movie. Yeah, exactly. Like the whole escapism thing. I 100% agree with you. Nonverbal Pie 81. I 100% agree. You know what is important? Especially, like, I hate this phrase, but like in these trying times. It really is. Like with a pandemic and a president whose approval rating is like 35%, gas prices going up, food shortages everywhere. Like people need to just unwind from stuff. Or like say in the Trump administration, like when that was going on, like there was the tweeting and there was the border wall and there was the government shutdowns. I think there was only one, but still, like there was a lot of stuff. Whenever there's any administration, there's going to be something that goes wrong. Even some of the best presidents, like Lincoln, he has skeletons in his closet. FDR had the internment camps where he locked up Japanese people. Like, obviously, even some of our heroes, they're not squeaky clean. Reagan had Iran Contra. I could go on and on. Escapism really is an important thing. And the book series I'm writing that I'm trying to get legitimately published, by the way, if anyone knows any good publishers out there, please let me know because I'm desperately looking for some. Uh, like, there's a lingering theme about, like, a governor. He's like a character in the story. But it's not, like, political. It's just the fact that, like, he used to be the governor and then like one of the main characters finds it like it's kind of interesting and they might want to like look into it a bit more. Like it's something like that. It's not super intrusive. It's not bashing you over the head, especially not with like political opinions or beliefs where that most certainly does not belong. It's just a story about someone finding their interests and meeting a former governor of their home state. Not some Schnookums and me, just a Ren and Stimpy ripoff with nothing remarkable about it whatsoever. Oh, I haven't gone by T in years. Feel free to just call me Trevor. T is the me back on TS Productions or TAS Productions, I guess. Actually, technically, it's TAS Productions. I'll explain what it stands for after all these years in the video I have coming up in February, where I review some of my old crappy videos. Haven't seen the old Garbage Pail Kids cartoon. Yeah, but it's good to see you, Cave Cat. I haven't seen you in a little while, so it's good to see you around and happy to have you back. You're a longtime fan, and trust me, we really appreciate it. Well, that's actually really cool being related to FDR. That's cool. Yeah, it's FDR is a little bit strange. He didn't really do anything during the Great Depression. Like he didn't fix anything. In fact, some historians say he might have prolonged it. But he most certainly was an amazing World War II president. That cannot be denied. To be fair, though, I don't think anyone could have solved the Great Depression because that wasn't just an American issue. That was happening the world over, like everywhere that was connected to the stock market, at least, like the UK, Canada, obviously the United States. But that's not to say Herbert Hoover didn't have his fingers in that greasy little pie. He absolutely made it worse with his poor handling of the Depression, but it's not his fault entirely, if that makes sense. Oh, I never received any. If you're sending it to my old email, that inbox has been full for so long, so I can't really get anything on there. I never really check it either. So, yeah, if you could like send it to other places, that might be better. See, I think we're going to start wrapping up around here. So, get your last questions out in the next couple minutes, and I'll get out. If you could send them to me on Discord, that'd be pretty great. We have a Discord server in the link of every Meet and Mementos video. So if you have a way to send them there, I think that'd be great. I'd also be able to see them a lot easier because obviously I definitely want to hear what you have made, obviously. So, but I can't really do that if I don't have it, sadly. I mean, I wish I could. It's just not physically possible. I've not seen Monsters at Work. I don't really have any interest in it. If you don't have Discord, just ask Billy because I know you're in touch with him and he'll send you some of my contact stuff. I just don't want to say it over here because I know that giving out my email to a lot of people out here is not really a great idea. But Billy will be more than happy and more than able to help set you up so we can make this happen. Worst cartoon I've ever seen. I used to say it was Family Guy, but I don't know. I don't know if I can really say it's Family Guy anymore. If we're going by like seasons, I'd say Drawn Together season 3 is just still I hate it. But if we're talking about like full series, I say Tipping the Rift. I mean, like it's I guess it's technically not objectively the worst, but we're gonna review it next month, and it's just awful. Billy had me do this for reasons I'll explain sometime later, but the show physically hurts to watch. Not because it's like super offensive like all the other adult cartoons are trying to be. It's trying to be offensive, but it's just so boring. I'm already into Sonic. I like Sonic. We're going to be making a Sonic Heroes video at some point. It's on the Patreon raffle list. We just don't really have anything to say about Sonic right now. The closest we really had to have anything like new was the 4Kids video, but that was a long time ago. Put the money in the bag. Put it in. Whoa, I didn't think we'd get Mrs. Puff out of jail this fast. Oh, I love that episode. I have not seen the Sonic Frontiers game trailer. I'm not really up to date on a lot of gaming news. Like to put it in perspective, the last like gaming related thing I heard about was the N64 thing on the Switch that costs like $50 a month or $50 a year or whatever ridiculous price it was. Whatever it was just insane. And there's no way anyone should pay that. What do you mean, kids' TV sister networks? I don't really know what you mean. And sorry, even then, we don't really do requests unless it's the Patreon raffle. Sorry. Mr. Salt is my favorite Charlie and the Chocolate Factory character because I played him in a musical once. But other than that, yes, he is. We're also going to be doing one more Charlie video, I think. Just one more. Because, again, that's like kind of like a Ren and Stimpy thing. There's not much left to talk about. Wish we could. We were going to do it's so hard to say. Great Glass Elevator, but there's not really much to talk about except it's a decent book. It's just not as good as the original. Okay, but again, sorry, we don't take requests. Yes, I did see that comment. Actually, I did answer it saying we're going to review Stage Fright someday. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Or I guess I should say thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you guys next time.